right? So it's only this particular thing that Allah needs a partner in, which then, like the point is,
according to the verse,
according to the verse, which means that he's not all powerful.
I'll do more research upon this, and then I'll get back to you. I'll be honest, because obviously
Hello beautiful viewers, welcome to this channel on this amazing episode of this usual debate between Godlogic and Muslims. On this very one, a Muslim realizes Allah's power has limits as he tries to debate Godlogic here. Let's watch this video for more amazing and fascinating details.
Yo, hello, how you doing?
What's up, man?
A great conversation last time. Sadly, it was interrupted by the ban on your life. Sadly.
Yeah, it was getting good.
Very educated point from both sides. What were we discussing last time? Can we discuss that?
I think it was Allah having a son, if I'm not mistaken. Was it?
Yeah, you're right. It was the verse where it mentions Allah speaking about himself, and he states, how can Allah have a son if he does not have a partner? And you were stating, you were talking about that. So, do you want to start with your points, or should I?
Well, the point is that according to Allah's own statement about himself, if he wanted to have a son, he would need a partner to do it, which means he's not all powerful.
I told you, where does it state he needs a partner to have a son?
If I say, how can I drive the car when I don't have the keys? According to that sentence, what do I need to drive the car?
Yeah, but that's our logic. We're looking at it from our perspective.
You didn't answer.
I know what you're trying to say. You need the keys to drive the car. Without the keys, you can't drive the car. But that's from our perspective.
That's from the formation of my sentence, right? When I say how can, whenever you say how can, that's dealing with someone's ability, right? Capability, right? So Allah says about himself, how can Allah have a son? So he's talking about his ability to have a son, and then he throws the wrench in there. How can he have a son when he doesn't have a partner? So what does Allah need in order to have a son?
Obviously, in the verse, he needs a partner. He's trying to state, but he's trying. What I told you before was he's trying to communicate with us. He's trying to show us an example that we understand. Obviously, he's the Almighty. He's the Creator. What example would he give for himself?
So this is actually that's a good point, but it's a good point for the wrong reason. Because what just happened to him? Maybe his phone died. I think his phone died, guys. I don't think he I wouldn't count him as a runner or anything. His phone probably died or something happened. He's not a runner. We were having a pretty good conversation last time, and it got cut short because I got banned. He even messaged me, so yeah. Hey, you're back.
Sorry, my phone disconnected. I'm not gonna lie. iPhone, this new iPhone.
I know, I said that.
Okay, so about the topic that we were talking about, you're saying Allah needs a partner. The thing is, what I tried explaining to you was that he doesn't. That's what I was trying to say to you. Because if you look at how he created his creation, like for example, the first creation, the first man, Adam. If you believe is Adam, we say he created him from dust, and he said be, and he was. So how can you say that he can't do this if he wanted a son?
Is Adam his son, or is he a creation?
Obviously, he's a creation, but you said yourself that if he would take a son, he would take it among his creation, right?
Yeah, but he would need a wife to do that.
And he would also create the wife.
Good. So here's the point. So he could create a wife and then have a son with the wife. However, here's the point. The point is that he would need a wife to have the son. That's the point. We're not just talking about a simple creation like Adam. Adam is just a creation, right? We're talking about a son, okay? So in order for Allah to have a son, he would need to create a wife and then have a son with that wife, according to the verse.
But that's your interpretation of it, isn't it? I haven't gone to this. For me, I haven't gone to the tafsir either. Tafsir.
Say that again. You haven't gone where?
To the tafsir of the verse.
Oh, to the tafsir.
Yeah, I haven't gone to it.
If you want, you can check out what Ibn Kathir says. He just continues to talk about how Allah is responding to the pagans who are saying he has a son, and he's saying that Allah has no partner, there's no companion, there's nothing like him, yada yada yada.
Okay, I'll check it out. Yeah, but can I question you on one thing? It's about the Bible. I'll be honest. It's about
Okay, but let's conclude first. Let's make sure we conclude on this, and then we can go to the Bible. I have no problem with that.
okay, what we're supposed to conclude that Allah needs.
We're supposed to come to a conclusion. So look, based on the phrase of the sentence, obviously it's saying that Allah needs a partner to have a son, right?
Yeah, based off the phrase, yes, he needs a partner.
Good.
I admit this because that's God's words. Obviously, we won't reject.
Right. So I appreciate your honesty, seriously, because oh my gosh, you have no idea how many people are so dishonest with that.
No, there's many Muslims that just keep rejecting until they get to their interpretation of the verse. But obviously, I'm not gonna waste my time here. Right. Deny. Okay, so
conclusion. So here's the conclusion, all right, and then we can get to the Bible. So since the verse by the statement shows that he needs a partner to have a son, that means that God himself, then, or Allah, is not all powerful because he needs help to do something, which means he's not God. That's how I came to the conclusion.
That's how you came to the conclusion. The thing is, you said Allah needs a partner. Therefore, how would you say, where would this partner come from? What would you think?
Anywhere.
It wouldn't come from anywhere because who creates everything? God.
So even if he creates the partner.
So there you go. So it doesn't mean he needs the partner. He can create the partner.
It does, because he can't have the son without it. He can't have the son without the partner.
But it goes with the whole universe as well, because then without Allah, this whole universe wouldn't be. You can't use this in the same argument. I don't know how to explain it. I'll be honest.
I agree. It's completely different. The universe and stuff, that's completely different. This is the only place where we see something else is needed for Allah to do something. This is the only place that I can pinpoint and see this happening.
From my view, the same thing.
Yeah. So I would say that Allah having a son would be completely different than anything else he's done, right? Because this is the only thing where he includes a partner in. This is the only thing I've ever seen, right? So it's only this particular thing that Allah needs a partner in, which then, like the point is,
according to the verse,
according to the verse, which means that he's not all powerful.
I'll do more research upon this, and then I'll get back to you. I'll be honest, because obviously I'm not disingenuous. Now, can we discuss the Bible?
We sure can.
Okay, so do you believe in the book of Genesis? Do you believe it's the word of God? That's the two questions.
Of course not.
The book of Genesis.
No, I'm a Christian, bro.
No, so do you reject the book of Genesis?
Dude, I'm a Christian. We don't believe in the Old Testament.
But would you still take it?
I'm just kidding. Yes.
Value, right?
Yes,
so there was a contradiction within the Old Testament. Would you say it's not the word of God?
Yeah. Well, you got to show me.
No, obviously, I want you. For me, I see it as a contradiction. But for you, I don't know how you'd interpret it. So if you go to the book of Genesis 37.
All right. Let me make sure I get the verses. What's the topic though? What's the contradiction topic?
It's about Joseph and his dream.
Joseph and his dream. Okay. So Genesis 37, verse
10.
All right. Okay. And what's the other one?
You want both verses where the contradiction is. Genesis 35, verse 9. I think with the verse.
Okay.
Now can I explain to you what I think is the contradiction here?
Well, let's read first.
Okay.
Oh, this is Jacob, not Joseph.
No, it's Joseph.
Genesis 30, this is Jacob.
No, it explains about Joseph and his dream. Jacob's the father of Joseph.
Yeah, but hold on. This is 35. Let's see, 37. Okay, so 37 is about Joseph.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's read 35. You said 9.
Yes.
All right, and then we'll read 37 and 10. So God appeared to Jacob again when he came from Padan Aram and blessed him.
I'm sorry, I think I gave you the wrong verse. Can you give me a minute?
Yep.
I did give you the wrong verse. It was Genesis 35:16.
All right, 35:16. All right.
16 to 18, exactly, just to be
19. All right. Then they journeyed from Bethel when they were still some distance from Ephrath. Rachel went into labor and she had hard labor. And when her labor was at its hardest, the midwife said to her, "Do not fear, for you have another son." And as her soul was departing, for she was dying, she called his name Ben-Oni, and his father called him Benjamin. Oh, she died from childbirth. So Rachel died, and she was buried on the way to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. And Jacob set up a pillar over her tomb. It is the pillar of Rachel's tomb, which is there to this day. Israel journeyed on and pitched his tent beyond the Tower of Eder. Okay?
Yes. So, you want me to tell you, you know who Rachel is, first of all?
Yes.
Yeah, can you please tell me, just so I can understand? Do you know who Rachel is? Just give me an answer,
So you can understand? So
I know who Rachel is. I just want to make sure you know who Rachel is.
You want to make sure I know who Rachel is? She's a mother of Joseph.
Thank you. Now, can you please go to Genesis 37?
What verse?
It's 37, verse 10.
All right. I'm going to read a little bit above just to get some context, okay?
That's fine.
Jacob lived in the land of his father's sojournings in the land of Canaan. All right, these are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17-year-old, he was a boy. Now Israel loved Joseph more than the sons but when his brothers saw that, Now Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him even more. He said to them, "Hear this dream that I have dreamed. Behold, we were binding sheaves in the field." Boom, boom, boom. His brother said to him, "Are you indeed to reign over us? Or are you indeed to rule over us?" So they hated him even more for his dreams and for his words. Verse 9, then he dreamed another dream and told it to his brothers and said, "Behold, I have dreamed another dream. Behold, the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars were bowing down to me." But when he told it to his father and to his brothers, his father rebuked him and said to him, "What is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall I and your mother and your brothers indeed come to bow ourselves to the ground before you?" And his brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the saying in his mind.
So the question I need to ask you is, why does the Bible in Genesis make a false prophecy saying that the mother and the father and the 11 brothers will bow down to Joseph, when before we clearly have seen the mother Rachel has passed away? She's dead. So here it states a false claim. It makes a false claim.
Yeah. Where does it say that the mother will bow down to him?
In the verse where his father is responding to Jacob.
Yeah, but where does it say that that's what the prophecy was?
The prophecy is when his father's, when it says the sun and the moon and the 11 stars, the sun refers to his father. The moon refers to his mother, obviously. And the 11 stars refers to his 11 brothers.
Wait, hold on a second, though. Is this like a confirmation of God saying, "Hey, this is who the sun is in this dream, this is who the moon is in this dream, and this is who the stars are in this dream"?
No, I'm interpreting for you, because obviously the 11 stars would refer to the 11 brothers, right? They would not, would they not?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so then the son would refer to his father, would it not? Because the father did bow down to him.
It could be.
It can't be could. The answer couldn't be could, because obviously it's his father.
It can be could. Who says that it is?
Because he states right after, his father states to him, "Will I and your mother..."
Yeah, but who's to say that he's correct here?
So you're saying,
first of all, do you know how many wives Jacob had?
No, obviously he had many wives.
So how do you know that the moon isn't talking about one of them?
Because Joseph never referred to. He said to Joseph. He's talking to Joseph.
Joseph
never referred to any of
Joseph. Stop. Joseph never said who is who in his dream. Joseph is the one who received the revelation of his dream. He never said who is who in the dream.
But the father interpreted for him by saying, "Will I and your mother and..."
He just asked the question and rejected him.
I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
He asked him a question and then rejected him.
He rebuked him and asked him a question.
So just because Jacob puts his interpretation on what the dream is, has no indication on what the truth of the matter of the dream is. Joseph is the one who received the revelation and didn't say who it is.
No, I just want you to clear it up for me. So would you say this is not a contradiction?
It's not a contradiction, bro.
So you're saying the dream doesn't say his mother and father and 11 brothers are going to bow down?
It doesn't say that.
How would you interpret the dream?
Well, I would interpret the dream similarly, but I wouldn't like make it, the moon is definitely talking about his mother. It has to be his mother. I wouldn't say that. It'll be one of the wives of Jacob. It's as simple as that.
No, but the thing is, you can't just say, because Obviously, if the father responds to him and says, "Will I and your mother?" He's referring to Joseph here. He's saying your
And,
mother.
and if his mother didn't make it to Egypt to bow down to him, then Jacob was wrong for thinking that it was about his mother specifically, or Joseph's mother specifically.
But isn't Jacob more knowledgeable than Joseph?
Says who?
Because he tells him not to tell his brothers. He knows when his brothers come back and inform the father of what they've done with Joseph. He's more knowledgeable.
Where do you get that Jacob is more knowledgeable than Joseph?
No, but obviously he's the father. If you're referring to Jesus and his father, you would say the father is more knowledgeable than the son. Would you not?
We're referring to what exactly?
I said if you were referring to Jesus and the father, you would say
Jesus?
the father.
No, Jesus and the Father are equal in knowledge. They know the same things.
No, but you can say Jesus is more limited than the father, in a sense.
I would never say that.
No, because there's many biblical verses which lower Jesus. And
Jesus humbles himself when he takes on flesh, but in his divine nature, he is ontologically equal with the Father in every way.
No, I'm not trying to make that point. I'm trying to say, okay, let's go then with humankind, mankind. Wouldn't you say normally the father is more educated than the son?
No, I'm more educated than my dad, and he's proud of that.
Okay, so you're gonna go with that interpretation. So of the verse, what would you say? Would you say Jacob's wrong here or right?
Yeah, I'll say he's wrong that he interpreted the moon to be Joseph's mother when Joseph's mother died before the brothers and he went to Egypt to bow down to Joseph. But
okay, what would you say to those Christians?
Jacob took one of his other wives.
So what would you say to those Christians who do interpret Jacob as being right here and not wrong, and saying that you would what?
They're mistaken. Whoever's saying, "Oh, this is talking about Rachel," is mistaken.
Okay, thank you for answering my question. Obviously, I wanted to clear that up because I didn't get a proper interpretation of this verse myself, and I've looked at it. I've obviously read it. I'm not more educated than you. I wouldn't say that, but obviously, I'm learning myself and going through the Bible with an open heart. I read the Quran with an open heart. Now I have to obviously read the Bible with an open heart, and I'm trying to understand it, even the Old Testament. And so far, this is the verse that has poked at me, if you don't understand.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So now, I hope that releases that.
That clears it up for me, but I'm obviously going to do more research. As I said, I'm going to do more research on the part of Allah if he needs a partner, and I'm going to do more research on this verse just to understand it. So thank you. So far we had a good conversation.
Yeah,
no disrespect from my side, no disrespect from your side.
It's been great talking to you. I'll say that. It's been great. I've had a great time.
May God bless you. May God bless us all.
God bless you too, bro.
Alright, welcome back, guys. That was a very beautiful and very educating. Let us know what you were able to learn in the comment section. Share this video, subscribe, and also don't forget to like it as well. The biggest thing that can strike hard for any Muslim is the realization that God becoming human and sharing in our experience to show us the way to salvation is the greatest act of love possible. The only real thing hindering the counterpoint for a Muslim has to be the Trinity is their belief that they always think that goes against God's nature. Who are we to know God's nature or to determine his nature? And each time they come up with that excuses that argument or the point being raised goes against God's nature. The question is, who are we as humans to determine God's nature? We don't even comprehend or understand who God is in his totality. We only know in part, and we can only say things we know based on what we have seen or heard or read. So many of them would come to tell us that God cannot exist in so form, or he cannot enter his creation, even when their Quran told them that God can enter his creation. It is somehow trying to limit the possibility of what God can do, because if you're saying that God cannot do this or do that, it means that you're trying to box him and make him limited in his potentials. If we can figure God out completely, then that entity is no longer fit to be called God. What makes God God is the ability for him to be mysterious. Interesting observation in Genesis. I have never connected that dots before, but this debate had made me to understand some certain things. I think the best explanation would be Jacob is referring to the woman that raised Joseph. It is very possible Joseph called her his mother. This would not be unusual at all in today's world, because so many stepmothers are called mothers today. So I wouldn't even say Jacob was mistaken, but I would say Joseph called the woman who raised him mother, it is very clear that his stepmother, in the case either the or other side of his late mother, or one of the slaves that was the concubine of Jacob, raised him to be a mother, so he refers to her as a mother. So there is no contradiction here or whatsoever that this young man is trying to say here. So guys, that was an amazing one. Share this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more amazing videos like this. We would love to see you in the next episode.